ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति सुप्रदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणगुणात्मान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पादा सहगण ललिता से विशाखान्वितां हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna. So today is a very delicate topic about the devatas or the demigods. So we are reading from the Bhagavad Gita. So we are in the 7th chapter, which is the very important chapter, talking about knowledge of the absolute. So Krishna explains here in the 20th chapter, saying, "Kamaistaiste ratagyana prapadyante anya devataha tam tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyatasvaya." So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So those who are freed from all material contamination surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in his devotional service. So the point is, until and unless we become pure devotees of Krishna, then till that time, we will have some material desires. So as long as we are not pure devotees of Krishna, we will have some kind of material desires. So in order to purify that desires, one has to worship, one has to take to the process of purification. Now, according to the scriptures, according to the Vedas, the preliminary action of a soul in the Veda is karma kanda. Karma kanda means to fulfill our necessities of life. So in the Vedas, it is recommended that we worship certain demigods. For example, in order to have a lot of wealth, one can worship Lord Shiva. One can worship for having a very beautiful wife. One can worship the apsaras. So similarly, one can worship. There is a recommendation that for certain desires, you worship certain demigods. And you get a certain result. But Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that one whose material desires are still existent, they tend to worship the demigods more. And the point is, if one wants to get out of the cycle of birth and death, then one has to worship somebody who is beyond that. The fact that we have to understand very clearly is that the demigods or the devatas, including Brahma, the topmost demigod, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, Lord Shiva, everybody included, are all created by Lord Vishnu after the creation. So Lord Vishnu makes the initial creation out of all the elements, and then he gives power to Lord Brahma to do the secondary creation. And Brahma then goes on to manifest all the devatas, Lord Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, Ashwini Kumaras, all the 33 crore demigods are created by Lord Brahma. But these demigods, the their origin comes, they are created by Lord Vishnu and secondarily created by Lord Brahma. So in a real sense, they are created, but Lord Vishnu or Krishna is not created. So that is the whole point here. That during the creation, after the creation, the demigods are created. But Lord Krishna and Vishnu are never created. They are eternal. They are eternal. When this material world is destroyed, Shankaracharya says, Narayana para avyaktat. No, who is Shankaracharya? He is Lord Shiva. Shankaracharya is Lord Shiva, and he is saying that when the whole creation is destroyed, there remains only one person, and that is Lord Vishnu. There remains only one person. So that is what is important for us to understand. That ultimately it is Krishna only who exists before the creation and who exists after the creation also. That is what Lord Vishnu explains in the third canto to Lord Brahma in the Bhagavatam. He explains, Aham evasam evagre, that I existed. Lord Vishnu is telling Brahma, I existed before the creation. I exist during the creation. And I continue to exist after the creation. At the beginning of the creation and during the creation, what exists is the material bodies of the people. The demigods, the devatas, including Brahma, have a gross or subtle material body. You can be a demigod, you can be a devata, you can be Brahma. If you follow 100 lifestyles of 100 lifetimes of Varnashrama Dharma, you can be Brahma. If you perform 100 Ashwamedha Yajna, you will become Indra in your next life. So you can become any one of the demigods, you can become any one of the devatas. You can become actually any one of the demigods, you can become any one of the devatas, depending that you do that punya. You see that famous episode when Vishwamitra was doing tapasya to become a Brahmana. So he was a Kshatriya, he was trying to become a Brahmana. and he had to perform Ashwamedha Yajna. And as he was performing that yajna, Lord Indra was trying to stop him from finishing 100 Ashwamedha Yajna, because if he gets punya of 100 Ashwamedha Yajna, he will surpass Indra and he could become Indra. So Indra was afraid. So similarly, all the devatas become afraid. So the problem is these devatas are not 100% pure devotees, except a few. Like Yamaraja is a pure devotee. Lord Shiva is a pure devotee of Krishna. Yamaraja is a pure devotee of Krishna. And they are all worshipping Krishna. Yamaraja is worshipping Krishna. Lord Shiva is worshipping Krishna. Narada is worshipping Krishna. All the demigods are actually worshipping Krishna. But the problem is that all these devatas get their power from Krishna, and these demigods, these devatas are recommending that we also worship Krishna. They do not anybody to actually worship them, but because they have that position, and because not everybody knows that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, they tend to worship the demigods. So this is the issue. Because only one who has perfect spiritual knowledge, only he will understand Krishna is the Supreme. So as Shankaracharya explains that Narayana para avyaktat, that before the creation exists Narayana. During the creation, Narayana exists. After the creation is over, only Narayana exists. So that's what we need to understand. And if we understand that, we understand that Ganesha, Lord Ganesh, how does he derive his power? So Ganesha, how does he get his power? Ganesha gets his power because he keeps the feet of Lord Narasimhadeva on his head. The Paduka of Lord Narasimhadeva on his head. So because he keeps the feet of Narasimhadeva on his head, he gets his power. Lord Ganesha gets his power. So similarly, Lord Shiva, when asked by his wife Parvati, so Parvati is asking Lord Shiva, everybody is meditating on you, on whom are you meditating? So Lord Shiva says, I am meditating on Sankarshana. And this Sankarshana, Lord Vishnu, is the supreme creator and supreme controller. And he asks that everybody, aradhananam sarve Vishnor aradhanam param, that aradhana, worship, of all different types of worship, worshipping of Lord Vishnu is the topmost worship. So this worship of Lord Krishna is recommended by all the devatas. If you see the email that I sent today with that picture, and if you see in that picture, Brahma is sitting with all the devatas, and during the time of any material disturbance or attack of any demons, the devatas are approaching Narayana. As we can see there, they sit on the bank of the milk ocean, Kshira Sagara. All the devatas are sitting there and they are chanting Purusha Shukta. So Purusha Shukta is the hymn or the most beautiful song glorifying the creation. So that is called as Purusha Shukta. So this Purusha Shukta, this hymn of Purusha Shukta is considered what explains the entire creation. So Lord Vishnu, how he makes this entire creation, how he makes it work. And they glorify Lord Vishnu. Oh Vishnu, you are the creator, you are the maintainer, you are the destroyer. So all the devotees are sitting there and they are worshipping Lord Vishnu. So they are worshipping Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is hearing these prayers and he tells them, all the devatas, all the demigods assembled, those hundreds of millions of demigods, and headed by Lord Brahma. So Lord Vishnu tells them, so this is just during the Dwapar Yuga, the present Dwapar Yuga, the Yuga before this, when Mother Earth comes in the form of a cow and prays to Brahma, that all the Rakshasas all the unwanted military on this planet is trampling on me. Why don't you help me? Why don't you invite the Lord? So all the devatas headed by Brahma, they go to Kshira Sagara and pray. Lord Vishnu says, Krishna, I will come as Krishna and you take all the devatas, you take birth on this planet, on this earth planet, you take birth and I will come down. You assist me. And all the devatas were born as Krishna's relatives, Krishna's friends, just to assist Krishna in the Leela. And after Krishna was born, after Krishna was on this planet, all the devatas, they assisted Lord Krishna in all his Leela. And at the end of his Leela, all the devatas, at the end of all this Leela, all the devatas, they were Krishna's relatives in Dwaraka mostly. So Krishna took them out of Dwaraka and they were all killed in that massive massacre and they all went back as demigods. But they got an opportunity to serve Krishna when Krishna was performing his Leela on this planet. So that is the most important thing to understand, is that the devatas, their position is always to serve Krishna. So all the devatas, their position is to always serve Krishna. And to serve Krishna, they take various positions. But sometimes when these devatas become intoxicated with their power, Krishna teaches them a lesson. For example, all the Brajvasis, they were worshipping Lord Indra because Indra was in charge of the rain. At that point of time, Indra, who is in charge of the rain, he was very puffed up. He was thinking, oh, everybody is depending on me for the rain, so they are offering me puja, they are offering me worship. I'm a big guy. So Indra began to become big. Indra became very puffed up. So Krishna, being the Paramatma in everybody's hearts, Krishna understood that this Indra was very puffed up. So he wanted to teach him a lesson. So what did Krishna do? Krishna told the Brajvasis, do not worship Indra. Do not. Instead, worship Govardhan Hill. This Govardhan Hill is a representation of me. This Govardhan Hill provides grass to all the cows. It provides all help to all the devotees. So when the devotees, they worship Mother Cow, they worship Govardhan. So Indra becomes very displeased. Oh, they have stopped worshipping me. So all the devatas, they stop. So all the devatas who are under Indra, they are all, Indra orders all of them to go and attack Vrindavana with thunderstorms, rain, cloud bursts, and the flash floods. So Indra thinks he can do whatever he wants without understanding Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And Indra, he lifts Krishna with the little finger, he lifts the Govardhan hill. For 7 days and 7 nights, of course, Govardhan hill at that point reached the sky. So Krishna was able to lift the Govardhan hill, little Krishna, who is very beautiful, with beautiful arms, with a beautiful peacock feather on his head. And he was able to view, he was able to stand cross-legged. And all the Brajvasis, they were able to view this beautiful form of Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill for 7 days, 7 nights. Although it was severe thunderstorms, severe rain, but the Brajvasis, they were able to experience Krishna's most beautiful form there, holding that hill for 7 days and 7 nights effortlessly. So at that point of time, Indra tries his level best. He himself comes down and directs the operations and tries to drown Vrindavan with whatever weapons he has. He cannot. And ultimately, he falls down from his position and he surrenders unto Krishna. He surrenders unto Krishna. And he surrenders unto Krishna. And he comes with the Surabhi cow. Then he comes with the Surabhi cow to bathe Krishna with the milk, because Surabhi cow gives milk. So pure milk, scented milk, and he bathes Krishna with that milk and begs apologies to Krishna. So we understand, as it is explained in the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Muhyanti yat suraya, even the demigods are bewildered in understanding Krishna. What to speak of Indra, even Brahma is bewildered. How is Brahma bewildered? So Brahma, what happens is, Brahma is bewildered. Who is this small boy with such extraordinary powers in Vrindavan? So he is a little confused. Is he the Supreme Lord? Who is he? Is he some Mayavi? Is he some powerful person? So Brahma decides to check it out. So Brahma decides to check out who is this. So what he does, he goes out and he kidnaps some of Krishna's Gopabalas. He kidnaps them for a period of 1 moment. 1 moment of Brahma is 1 year here in the material world. So he kidnaps all of them. And as he kidnaps all of them, Brahma kidnaps all of them and takes them for a moment away. So 1 year has passed in Vrindavana, and Brahma comes back to see what's happening. And he finds that none of Krishna's friends have disappeared. They are all there. All Krishna's friends are there. All of them are playing with Krishna. All the cows are there. All the calves are there. Everything is there. Nothing is missing. He is completely shocked how Krishna maintained these friends and these cows for 1 full year when Brahma had actually kidnapped them. How did he maintain? So Brahma is completely bewildered. So Brahma surrenders unto Krishna, and Brahma actually becomes so bewildered that Krishna puts Brahma in more bewilderment. When Brahma comes there, Brahma is shocked to see. Brahma begins to cry, what is this? And he sees, on top of all this, he sees that all these boys who were there, who were Krishna's friends when Brahma had kidnapped them, they were all actually Krishna's expansions. Not only that, at the same time, Brahma there, he sees millions of Brahmas and millions of Lord Shiva at that same place. And he's completely bewildered. How is this? There are Brahmas with 5 heads, 10 heads, millions of heads, zillions of heads. There are Shiva with 5 heads, 10 heads, millions of heads, and zillions of heads. And he's like, who is this? Who are they? What is this? Then Krishna tells him, Krishna explains to him that these millions of Brahmas, millions of Shivas, there are millions and billions of universes like ours, far, far bigger than ours, far, far bigger. And each one has a Brahma, each one has a Shiva, each one has Indra, each one has all these devatas. And ours is one of the smallest universes. But this Brahma was so proud with 4 heads. Because of the 4 directions, our Brahma has 4 heads, and these millions of Brahmas have millions of heads, millions of Shivas have millions of heads. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how these millions of universes are existing? How these millions of universes are existing? How millions of Brahmas are existing? How millions of Shivas are existing? How millions of Devatas are existing? Isn't it amazing? It is amazing. It is amazing how these universes are existing, how all these things are existing. It is simply amazing. So we should understand very clearly that this our Brahma then offered obeisances to Krishna, and he said, I'm sorry, I thought I knew everything, but there are so many things which I don't know. There are so many things which I do not understand. So if Brahma can say this and Lord Shiva can say this, all the devatas are saying this. So an intelligent man, referring to the scripture, understanding the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, understanding the knowledge of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he understands the position of Lord Krishna in relation to all the devatas. All the devatas are administrators appointed by Krishna to take care of the universe, whereas Krishna, being the Supreme Lord, he has no function. The Lord has no function. He's the controller of everything. He's the controller of all different functions. He does not run any functions. Otherwise, he is not God. Sometimes when he does not find a suitable person to function, then he takes up that function. But that is his greatness. But Lord Krishna, he controls everything. Hence, all the devatas are there just to assist Krishna, just to assist Krishna in his regular activities. So that is the goal, we should understand. So in the Bhagavad Gita, we clearly see that Krishna is giving us a serious indication that he is supreme. Krishna is supreme. Krishna's body is completely spiritual. The devatas have a material body. We have a material body, just like devatas. We have a material body, but less powers. Devatas have more powers. That's it. Otherwise, it's the same. They have some more powers than us. That's it. So they are also spirit souls. So are we. And if we become devotees of Krishna, anybody who becomes devotee of Krishna like Srila Prabhupada, he becomes more worshipable than the demigods. Because a spiritual master is the spiritual master of the entire universe, including the devatas. A pure devotee of Krishna is worshipped even by the devatas. That is the speciality of a pure devotee of the Lord, that even he is worshipped even by the devatas. So, intelligent people, as per the Bhagavad Gita, kamaisaitarata jnana prapadyante anya devataha. Those who have not understood Krishna, they worship the devatas. Those who have not understood Krishna. But one who has understood Krishna, they worship only Krishna, because understanding Krishna means understanding his greatness. So that is the thing. So let's go over to the next sloka and let's see what Krishna wants to tell us. Yo yo yam yam tanun bhaktaha shraddha yachitum ichhasi tasya chalam shraddham tameva vididhamyaham. I am in everyone's heart as super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So Krishna is explaining here that even for us to develop faith in some demigod, even for us to develop faith in some demigod, Krishna gives us that faith. Krishna is in everybody's heart. And he is the one who is giving us inspiration, and he is the one who is giving us that strength. So Krishna is the one who is giving us that strength. Krishna is the one who is giving us that intelligence, memory, focus. So Krishna is the one who is giving us that. So therefore, Krishna is the one who is the controller of everything. And Krishna is controlling even within our heart what faith we get. And depending on our desire and actions, Krishna sanctions that you get faith in this, you get faith in that. So Krishna is sanctioning what faith we develop. Krishna is sanctioning what interest we develop. Sanctioning. So depending on our desire. So isn't it wonderful that Krishna is saying that for us to get faith in some demigod, Krishna is the one within the heart who is giving us that faith. And if we are sincere, then Krishna will give us that true understanding that Krishna is the Supreme. If we are sincere, if our heart's desire is sincere, that we want to understand the Supreme, we want to develop love of God, we want to surrender unto Krishna. If our heart's desire is sincere, Krishna is sitting in our heart, he will purify our desires and he will cultivate within us that love for Krishna. So that is very, very important. So what is important for us? is to develop that willingness, is to develop that loving desire within our heart to worship Krishna. Hmm? So, when we develop that loving desire to worship Krishna, so when we develop that loving desire to worship Krishna, Krishna within our heart, he motivates us. He gives us the true inspiration to read, to chant, to worship him with great love. And when we do that with the sincere heart, with sincere understanding, love, and ability, then we will definitely reach places. Hmm. So, what gives us that faith within our heart to worship anybody, to worship any demigod? That is Krishna himself. Huh? So, but if we are sincere, then Krishna will immediately give us faith, give us the true understanding that we need to worship Krishna. So that is Krishna's special mercy when he gives us his own understanding. So Krishna says, Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Tasya Radhanamihate Labante cha tatah kaman mayeva vihitan hitan. Endowed with such faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So Krishna says that the results that you obtain by worshipping some devata, so those results are actually given by me. If Lord Shiva has to bless somebody, then that strength has to come from Krishna. Krishna has to give that to Lord Shiva, and then Lord Shiva can give it to him. So similarly, if Ganesha has to give somebody something, so Ganesha has to be first empowered by Lord Narasimha, Lord Krishna, and then Ganesha can give somebody something. So all these devatas, their power is actually derived from Krishna. So Krishna is saying that actually that is an indirect form of worship where you are worshipping these devatas and you are getting some benefit, but this benefit is actually coming from me. So, but if you worship me directly, understanding me as the source behind everything, then you are very intelligent. So Krishna is giving us that strength and that intelligence and that understanding to by which to understand that actually we need to worship Krishna. And by worshipping Krishna, we are worshipping everybody. We become very, very successful. Our understanding becomes very, very clear. So, let us just recap the important points that we went through today. All the devatas are created during this creation by Vishnu and Brahma. Brahma is also created by Lord Vishnu, but Lord Vishnu has no source. He is the self-created. So what remains before and after the creation is Lord Vishnu. In between, the devatas are there to help Lord Vishnu run this planet. And once their service is over, their bodies are all dissolved. These devatas are all devotees of the Lord. The devatas, even you and me can become devata if we perform the proper amount of punya. If we perform the proper amount of punya. So if we perform the proper amount of punya, then we can also become as good as the demigods. So that is important for us to understand, is that demigods are nothing but jivas who are empowered with certain powers to run the administration of the universe. They are not God, they are demigods, they are just empowered personalities. But all or most of them are devotees of Krishna. Those who are demons, they are not, but the devatas are. So the devatas are also, they are devotees, but they are not pure devotees because they have material desires. So Krishna gives them Krishna gives them power to lord over the material world in certain ways, but they are not pure devotees if we are to understand it clearly. So if we become a pure devotee of the Lord, we are greater than even the demigods, because the demigods, such a spiritual master or a pure devotee of Krishna, is worshipped even by the demigods. Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita that that even if we worship the demigods, the faith to worship the demigods is given by Krishna within our hearts, because Krishna is the creator of the devatas, Krishna is our creator, and the relationship is temporarily also created by Krishna. And that the fruits which we get by worshipping certain demigods, that is also given by Krishna. So Krishna is the giver of all the certain Krishna gives us the certain fruits whichever come, that is also given by Krishna. So we have to understand that our goal of life is to actually understand and worship Krishna, and in that we will actually become very, very successful and will become very, very happy. All right, so I will stop here. So any questions or comments at this point are welcome. Hare Krishna. So any questions from the devotees on the phone or on those who are on the chat window, please let me know. So yes, I thank you all for attending very sincerely, and I hope you join. Can we worship Lord Shiva through rituals? Even the Brajvasis worship Lord Shiva on the occasion of Shivaratri, but they worship Lord Shiva as a pure devotee of Krishna. So if you understand that the devatas are pure devotees of Krishna, and then we can pray to them as devotees of Krishna, that understanding should be there. So to worship demigods, to worship the devatas, one's understanding should be clear that they are devotees of Krishna, and then we can actually uh, celebrate their festivals, worship them as devotees of Krishna, as we would do for our own spiritual master. That understanding Krishna would definitely like. So Krishna would love such an understanding where we are worshipping them as devotees of Krishna. So we celebrate Shivaratri, we celebrate Ganesh Chaturdashi, we celebrate everything, but in relation to Krishna. So I hope that answers the, like chanting Maharudra. So that's the point here, that on, for example, if our spiritual master comes, he likes samosa. Our Guruji comes to our house, he likes samosa. Spiritual master comes, then we cook samosa for him, he likes it, then we eat it. But he is worshipped as a pure devotee of Krishna. So similarly, the devatas like Lord Shiva, on special occasions, we want to please them. We want to please them because we love them as devotees of the Lord, like Mahashivratri or any other festival of Shiva. At that time, yes, we can chant certain Maharudra or certain mantras which the Lord is pleased, but actually Lord Shiva is pleased by pure Sankirtan. Lord Shiva is actually pleased by hearing the holy names of the Lord. Lord Shiva is also a yogi. If you see the Natha Sampradaya and Yoga Sampradaya, Lord Shiva is the spiritual master of all the yogis. He is the spiritual master of all the yogis. So that is the speciality of Lord Shiva. So he loves to hear the chanting of Om. He loves to hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He is also with his Damaru, he creates the original sound. And this sound is nothing but Krishna, because Akara, the Akara, this is Krishna. So actually, all the sounds produced are actually Krishna. So actually speaking, he is Krishna is the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is actually uh, Lord Shiva is the topmost devotee of Krishna, and he loves to be worshipped by the chanting of the pure names of the Lord. If you read even the Prachetas in the Bhagavatam, you will understand how the Lord Shiva, he sung the song of glorifying Lord Vishnu. That is explained. How the Prachetas, he explained the song which glorifies Lord Krishna. So when Lord Shiva loves to hear that song in which he is glorifying Lord Krishna, so he loves that more than any other mantra which is glorifying him. So chanting, all the devatas are actually pure devotees of Krishna, and because being pure devotees, they love to hear the chanting of the Om and the Hare Krishna mantras and any mantras relating to the glorifying of Lord Krishna, and by which they will be completely and happily satisfied. I hope that answers the question. Yeah. So, so any other questions or comments at this point? Very beautiful question. And all questions make the discussion even more interesting and even more fruitful, because we can understand much more things. Okay, so thank you, Anand Vyarani Mataji, for such a beautiful question and for participating in the discussion. So I will stop here, and I request all of you to join me next week. It was a very sensitive topic about the Devatas, but by understanding them correctly, we will have a right understanding. We respect the demigods, we love the demigods, but we worship Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as per Krishna's instructions. We respect everybody, but we worship Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. जी की मेरा